Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Irish Wrestling Podcast. Love to have you here with us today. It is, of course, herself, Sensational Queen Lizzie. Very nice to be here. And himself, it is Booker G 5 times. And have we got a guest and a half for you today? We are super, super happy as we are both massive fans of today's guest. It's very, very hard to have enough words to describe what Jack does for a living. Because my God, if you have heard of people wearing many hats, there's not enough hats in Ireland to cover Jack's career, okay? From award-winning host, DJ, announcer, commentator, podcaster, producer, and it's not just in wrestling, it's across like multiple industries and like video games, MMA, like, you name it. If there is something that Jack hasn't touched yet, it's because he hasn't got to it yet. Probably one of the hardest working men in the wrestling community. It is, of course, the owner of the most dulcet, beautiful tones that we hear on a WrestlingINC podcast as well, Jack Farmer. Jack, tell us, how are you?
Well, I'm doing great after that intro. Thank you so much for all the kind words. And I don't know how many hats there are in Ireland, but I have a feeling there might be a few more of them than what I've worn. But I appreciate it nonetheless. Yeah, I like to stay busy. I guess I get bored. I'm a busybody.
Yeah, come here. There's nothing wrong with that, you know, because when you're idle, sure, I mean, it's only time wasted, isn't it, when you think about it? So you might as well put it to action and be productive with it. But nothing wrong with being busy or a busybody, definitely, because it's paying off for you.
Yeah, as we were saying before we got on the air, actually, I've been trying to do some different stuff in my recording space, and it's become a giant mess in my house. And I don't know about you guys with your recording space, but I feel like I'm always trying to optimize it, but all I do is make it worse. Every time I try to make it better, I'm like, what if I put the camera this way and I move the mic over here and do this? And then it's just a nightmare, but I never stop doing it. But it's because, you know, like you said, I've been doing a lot of stuff, especially lately. I've been trying to do some more recording things and trying my hand at voiceover lately. And so it's been a lot of fun stuff going on in the world here. But yeah, especially wrestling. Wrestling keeps you busy, as you guys know, because there's new wrestling stuff, whether it be news or shows, every single day.
Yeah, my God, like the perfect pick for a voiceover. Unbelievable. I mean, that's just a match made in heaven. That's Randy Savage and Elizabeth there straight away, isn't it?
Forget about the LA Knights, movement and stuff. Oh yes, movement.
Oh yes, movement.
Yes.
Yeah, well, let's hope. I mean, that's the idea. Maybe you'll hear me in a Disney cartoon or something one of these days. No, I don't know. I've never done it before, but I just started it this week, and so we'll see. Man, I don't know. Maybe my voice will be. I see John Cena doing every commercial, it seems like. So maybe I'll do you'll hear me talking about Ford trucks or something one of these days on a commercial.
But you know what? It'll be that one you're listening to. You'll be like, I swear to God, that's Jack. That's when you know you've made it. That's when you know you've made it.
Brilliant. Well, before we get into like your career as it is, how did you end up? Obviously growing up a wrestling fan. Was wrestling something that you always wanted to get into, or is just you led into something, or something happened and you just ended up in the industry?
Yeah, funny enough, I grew up a wrestling fan like a lot of people did. My cousin, I always tell the story, he used to babysit me and he'd always bring over wrestling tapes so they would do the heavy lifting and I'd watch them. And it was usually Royal Rumbles, I think. And so most of my young childhood, I didn't watch wrestling in order. I just watched wrestling like Royal Rumbles. And I'd be like, oh, there's this character or whatever. And then I think I always say it was the Ric Flair Royal Rumble that I think really hooked me. I'm terrible at years and numbers, so like I don't even remember what year. I think it was 93. If there was ever a trivia contest, don't pick me as a partner. I know the thing. I just like if you ask me when was Goldberg Brock Lesnar WrestleMania, I'm like, was it 20 or 25? Was it? I don't know. I can't remember. Anyways, the point is, that's how I got into it. But I actually almost rebelled against trying to get into any type of entertainment work growing up. So after I got done with school, I got a job at a bank of all places. I wanted to get like a quote unquote real job, but it just wasn't for me. I wasn't into it. I couldn't. I dreaded going to work, and eventually I just said, I forget it. And I tried to go different routes. And surprisingly, as all things do, I think we I think Cody Rhodes said it, the road you take to avoid your destiny is the road that takes you there, or something like that. And I think that's what happened to me.
So did you and during college, were your college years, you started DJing out of the blue? Was that where you started?
Yeah. Yeah. So when I was like, I'm going to go back to college when I was at the bank, and I said I needed a job. And so I got a job in the warehouse of a DJ company. And so I was like, this is great. I can just show up. I can check gear in, check gear out whenever I want to. Great job. But I started hanging out with the DJs, and I'm a bit of a chatty Cathy. So I started chatting with the DJs, and they were like, Jack, you should DJ. I was like, I don't think that ever happened. And then of course they're like, well, come to a party with us. I was like, this is awesome. Let's do this. So I started DJing, and funny enough, I've been DJing for a while and I love it. It's super fun. But I was like, what's the next evolution of DJing events? This is silly. I was like radio, I guess, or like broadcasting or something. So I got to figure out how to do that. And good friend of mine, Flobo Boyce, he worked for a company called AfterBuzz TV, owned by Maria Menounos, who's a friend of the WWE. And he said, you should try working here. And I was like, oh, that'd be great, because I love pro wrestling. Right. So I went there, and they were like, okay, we'll bring you on, but you're not going to be on the wrestling. You're going to cover other TV shows and things like that. So I had to cover some other shows that weren't as popular or cool for a while. And then eventually I got the opportunity to cover wrestling. And I was like, this is awesome. I can't believe I'm covering wrestling. I love wrestling. And from there, that was great, but it eventually shut down during the pandemic. And that's when I reached out to Wrestling Inc. And fortunately, Raj was very cool about working with me.
Amazing.
Was it just a random, like, did you reach out to Raj? Had he reached out to a lot of companies, or was it just something that you were like, oh, I gotta get into podcasting? Or
yeah, well, I reached out to a few places, but Wrestling Inc. has been a brand as far as wrestling news and coverage for a very long time. I actually saw Raj posted a picture recently with someone from like Goldberg versus Raven or something, and WCW Nitro, with a sign up that said Wrestling Inc. in the crowd, and just to show how long that had been around. So that was one of the ones I definitely wanted to work for. I reached out to a lot of places, and some people got back, but Raj was the one that obviously when he reached out, got back to me, I was like, this is awesome. And we had a phone call. I think we had like 2 or 3 phone calls where we chatted for a little bit first. And then he said, okay, my first opportunity was really because people couldn't make it and people couldn't be on the show. Like, Jack, you're going to be a guest on the show. Did that. And, it's definitely one of those things. It's funny. I don't know about you guys, but I'll get DMs every now and again or something where someone says, hey, I'd love to be on Wrestling Inc. And I'm like, that's great. Like, what are you working on? And they're like, oh, I haven't done anything.
Yeah.
Well, okay. You got to do some stuff first, But I guess all that to say is it was a bit of a journey, but now that I'm there, I love it. And I feel very fortunate. I get to do so many of the shows there.
Yeah. And like it for us, like we said it to Justin earlier, we spoke in the Raj in the past about, during the pandemic, the Wrestling Inc. podcast got us through the pandemic.
Yeah, it was a staple in our, wasn't it? Yeah.
The fact that you were every day, there was, nearly every day there was an episode to listen to, and it helped us a lot. So whenever you came on board, and it seems like you've been there,
a natural
forever. Like, yeah, you've always been there. And now at this stage, and you're one of the main hosts. So it's been great to see you progress with Wrestling Inc. as well, and
it's cool
moving on to other things as well. So what
for better or worse, I've been there for it feels like I've been there for a long time.
Like Triple J for life.
How being
I like that.
Triple J. Yeah, Jack is the capital J in the
He is the capital J in Triple J. Absolutely.
He's the captain.
I'll have to remind those other two who the capital J is.
I'll get Justin back for what he said.
You're obviously you're still doing DJing. You're probably weddings and birthdays and stuff. How has worked in podcasting within Wrestling? Has that helped your DJ career? Have you gotten better at it, or is it something that just flowed straight into the other career?
I think it actually worked the other way a little bit better, I think, because being a DJ, you have to read rooms, you have to be able to read people, and I do a lot of weddings, which means I have to make a lot of announcements at these events, and I have to direct traffic and explain things to people. And you learn that you have to speak clearly. You have to be able to get information to people, but you also have to do it in a way that's not going to crater the event and make it lame. You know, like if there's a bunch of people dancing, but you've got to let everyone know that it's last call. You got to find a way to do that without bumming people out. And I think that happens in Wrestling Inc. a lot too, or just in covering pro wrestling a lot. Not that there's bad news a lot, but sometimes you got to cover news, and sometimes it's not great news. There was a lot of stuff last summer that wasn't exactly fun to talk about, but you've got to find a way to talk about it without bringing the energy down. Or if you're talking about a show and there's someone you really love, but maybe they got hurt and you got to talk about it, you got to find a way to do that with giving it the credibility, like giving it the weight that it deserves, without also making the whole show feel like it's gone into a downer at that point. And so that's actually been super helpful to me. And I think it's been something that DJing has weirdly played a very big part in helping me understand more about being, whether it be in commentary, ring announcing, or on Wrestling Inc.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because as you say, reading the room is super important regardless. And it's difficult to do that in podcasting, because you can kind of get a vibe of, especially if it is bad news for wrestling, you can kind of get a vibe of how the wrestling community feels. But I think a lot of it's down to tone, presentation, how you deliver it. They say, you can tell the worst possible news in the best possible way, and I think it's kind of trying to strike a happy medium of that in the middle, which thankfully, I suppose for Wrestling Inc., you have in spades. You've hit that balance, because it's not an easy thing to do, as you say, without, dead in the water for the rest of the time you're there, and you're kind of just hanging around. But it's definitely something that's noteworthy, isn't it?
Absolutely. Like ourselves, now we've started doing commentary for a local wrestling promotion here over probably the last few months.
Love it.
Been
so much fun.
Like how was it for you, transitioning into, ring announcing and commentary?
Yeah, commentary. It's so funny. It's never happened to me before, but I'd love if this is to know if it's happened to you. But every time I'm about to start a show, I have this what if I don't know what to say?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have this fear. There's always something to say. You always figure it out. But as soon as we're about to start, what if I don't know what to say? Every single time it hits me.
But list the notes, and after about 5 minutes of the first match, your notes
it might as well be Dutch. Yeah, literally. It's I don't even know what that says anymore.
Yeah, I'm a big I'm a big note taker. I take a ton of notes. I come so prepared, but you're right. I rarely look at it because it's stuff happens. I can't look down at my notes. I got to see what's going on in the ring. But with commentary, I've been very good, or at least I think I've been very good. I reach out to people all the time about their advice and what kind of input they can give me. And I've been fortunate that I've been able to talk to a number of pretty cool people, like Andy Shepherd from NXT UK, Tom Hannafin over at Impact, Ollie from Progress over there. And Ian Riccaboni and not Ian Riccaboni, Rich Bocchini is works with Defy, and they've all been very good about giving me feedback. And they've always told me the things to remember is remember the story that's being told, and remember to remind everyone of the stakes that are at play with the matches. And so I always try to remember to get those things in as much as I can. And really just, I kind of come from a sales background. And so my big thing is I always want to sell things. I always want to promote things. I always want things to seem better. I think maybe on Wrestling Inc. that makes me come across as super positive about everything, but really it's because I want to promote it. I want people to watch the show. This is cool. This is great. Go see this. And so when I see two wrestlers and I'm doing commentary, I'm like, this is incredible. Oh, he just hit an incredible move. They're doing this incredible thing. If he wins, this will be historic. This is amazing. This is awesome. And so I always try to just push that aspect of it, but it's so fun. Commentary is so fun. I always say to my friends, if I wasn't doing commentary, I'd be sitting in the crowd talking about what's going on anyway.
Exactly.
You'd be shouting out commentary words anyway. Oh my God, he's broken in half or something like that.
Like this.
Not this way. Yeah.
Not this way.
Amazing. It's nice to throw in a gym like that now and then, though, when you're commentating, just for the crack to see the reaction you get, you know.
Yes, it's always those, you know, they get said a lot for a reason. I always say it's because they're great. They're great. Like there's the famous, at least here in the States, there's the "Do you believe in miracles" line from the U.S. hockey team years and years ago, and I felt kind of cool. I said that at a show recently, but then also just recently, Michael Cole said it when the Jey Uso pinned Roman. He was like, "Do you believe in miracles?" I was like, "Yeah, it's such a great line."
Stole my line.
That's it.
Well, I stole it too, so I can't use it.
Amazing.
And for obviously doing commentary, you've done ring announcing as well for Defy. Famously, you did the ring announcing for Nick Wayne and Swerve.
Yes.
Was it a year or 2 years ago? You were 16.
No, it was 2 years ago. That one was just earlier this year. That was the one where Nick Wayne ended up winning the title that night, and that was the one where Swerve announced he was going to be Nick Wayne's first AEW match after the show. If anyone's able to pull that up on Defy on Demand, see, there's me promoting again. You can check it on Defy on Demand. But when Swerve was saying that, I'm gonna be your first opponent, you could see me right behind him, getting ready to make the announcement. But like, I'm kind of behind him, and I was like, this is so cool. Yeah. But that is Defy is a special place. So my cousin, who I mentioned earlier, Matt Farmer, is one of the guys that runs Defy, and so that match was, I knew when I was going to get the opportunity to do the ring announcing for that it was a special match for them, because anyone who's followed Defy knows that Swerve is one of the guys that was really one of the people that helped build Defy. He was main evented their first show, one of the main people of that company. And Nick Wayne, I always say, was the little kid that snuck into the shows to watch them. And if Swerve was the guy that built the Defy house, then Nick Wayne was the kid that was raised in the Defy house. And so you have them having this match for the their world title. Yeah. And when I did that ring announcement, I wanted it to reflect how important that was. And so I wanted to make it feel big. I wanted to make it feel cool. I never swear, but if you've ever been to a show with Nick Wayne, they give him a middle name when they say his name. And I was like, you know what? This is what they say. I've got to say it too. I've got to do it. And if I'm going to say it, I got to, put my whole foot in it when I say it. And so that's the only time you'll ever hear me swear on a broadcast. But it was just a very cool ring announcement. I'm very proud of it. And the moment, the match was insane. Yeah. What they did was awesome. And obviously I think Nick Wayne and Swerve, I always say Swerve, you could build a company around. I think if AEW put him as one of their top guys, they would be set. And I think Nick Wayne isn't a hot take. Nick Wayne's going to be a star. I mean, it's like, he's 18 years old in one day, and he's already main eventing Dynamite. So I think it's a pretty safe bet. But
what was it like? Did you watch it back? Did you watch it live Dynamite whenever they had the match? Were you watching it at home?
Oh yeah. I was there. It was so cool. I was texting my cousin too. Like, you must be so proud. And he was like, absolutely. Nick's probably got tons of nerves right now. I bet he does. Absolutely. But yeah, I watched it. It was awesome to see. I was super, super proud of both of them. I think Nick Wayne totally knocked it out of the park. I don't know what their plans are for him, but I think he's going to do just fine in this pro wrestling biz.
He's got a big future.
At that age, that caliber.
He's got 20 years on somebody like Roman Reigns, and Roman's 10 years in him. So 30 years time, he'll still be in his prime, which is crazy.
Well, that's the crazy thing is, I don't know if you guys ever do this, but every now and again I go, like, I'll see how old someone is, and then I'll go back and like double check. Well, how old was Hulk Hogan during the NWO run? And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
There was a picture of actually Arn Anderson yesterday who went up on Twitter. Somebody put it up saying he was 27 in the picture, and he looks about 50.
Yeah,
that's like, remember they were in The Rock when he was 16. I was like, are you kidding? Whose leg are you pulling? Stop it. Stop that.
Yeah. There are so many people when I was younger, I thought they were I was like, they're old. They got to get out of here. Time to retire. Now I'm like, Bobby Lashley's how old? What?
He hasn't aged a day. Yeah. It's frightening. It's like time stood still and just went around Bobby. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. Father Time was like, time to age. And Bobby's like, no, And he was like, okay.
Oh, no, you don't.
No, you don't. Father Time said, okay. And he walked away.
Bobby just flexed.
The cryo chamber frozen for fucking 7 years.
I think he was done a whole Captain America on it, and just like they defrosted him.
But that's the crazy thing is you look at Nick Wayne, and if he goes as long as a Bobby Lashley does, then we may be seeing Nick Wayne for the next 25, 30 years, like it's crazy. That's crazy.
Man.
And it's also what I think about guys like LA Knight when they're like, oh, he's kind of older. I'm like, I mean, he could get 5 or 6 strong years out of him still, and maybe more.
That's all you need to be The Rock had 5 years and full time total.
Yeah. I mean, if you could go back in time and get 5 years of The Rock again, you'd say yes, no problem. So
yeah, it's quality over quantity. It really is.
Keep comparing them to The Rock, they might as well give him 5 years. comparing them to The Rock. Why not be compared to The Rock?
Yeah, I mean, I love LA Knight. I'm such a big LA Knight fan.
I love
Who isn't these days? I feel like he's. I always say it's incredible. He never wins, but he's like the most popular person in wrestling. He's not even on the shows half the time. He's like the most popular person in wrestling.
Promo, come out, stands on stage, don't even get in the ring. He just stands up in entrance ramps and goes away again.
It's so true.
Yeah.
But,
incredible.
Outside of wrestling, have you done commentary as play-by-play stuff for MMA? I know there's the Influencer Fight League that you're involved in.
Yeah. So I do ring announcing and commentary for the Influencer Fight League, and that is one of the most fun shows. I always say it's just like a chaotic train wreck of fun and excitement when you do these shows, because there's real boxers, there's influencers, there's musical performances, there's like a model contest that happened at the last one. There's just like stuff like all this stuff is happening, and it's just like bam, 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 and it's just so exciting. And a lot of these boxers, like they'll do we do shorter rounds and shorter number of rounds, and so there's not a lot of time to wait for these guys. So you don't get a lot of sometimes you watch boxing and they're kind of like feeling each other out for a long time, or they'll do a thing where they lean on each other. A lot of our matches are just 3 rounds, 2 minutes apiece. So you got to go out there swinging. And sometimes it's always funny because sometimes you see these influencers and you're like, oh, they didn't realize this is what they were getting into when they get hit. And sometimes they go, and it's just it's exciting, it's fun, it's crazy. They'll talk trash, and like I said, some of them will come out and they'll have like rappers rapping their entrance theme as they come out, and they'll have like it's just crazy and it's fun and it's just nuts. The whole show is just absolutely nuts, but it's fun too because I'm doing commentary and ring announcing, so it's a little hectic for me to be totally honest, but I love it because I like talking. So I'm running into the ring, doing the ring announcing, and then running back over to the commentary table.
You must have 2 different lengths of notes, like Chris Jericho's this, like trying to remember who everybody is and what they do.
My greatest fear is going to ring announce and not having the right notes for the ring announcing. You know what I mean? And like accidentally grabbing my commentary notes or something. It hasn't happened yet, but yeah, it's fun, it's crazy. There's you see celebrities there, and again it's just nuts. It's a crazy show. We just did the 6th one back in June. We got the 7th one happening in September or October, I believe. We haven't locked in a date yet, but that one we're going to go. First one, from what I understand, we're going to be flying out of LA. We're going to go to Miami, I believe, is the next spot. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but whatever. I'm just going to throw it out there. But things are still being confirmed, so nothing's locked in, but I believe that's the next goal.
All right. Cool. And then obviously there's a lot of so-called celebrity fights coming up in the next while. There's one big one with Jake Paul and Nick Diaz. Or Nick Diaz. Is that something that you're interested? Are you invested in the MMA world completely, or in whatever the celebrity fight world is?
Yeah, I'm getting into. It was something I was always kind of into, not as much as I was into wrestling growing up. But I was always into it. I remember even back in the old days as UFC was first starting, it was interesting. I was always a fan of like the Ultimate Fighter. The celebrity stuff is stuff that I'm actually like kind of more into, because I feel like it's it's more, I like the chaos of it. I like the fact that you can't really know what you're going to get. I like that feeling of people realizing that they're in a fight, you know, and how they react to it. I think that's always interesting. I like good like MMA fights as well, and those are always interesting as well. But I don't know. I like something about I like chaos. I like things I like it when you don't know what you're going to get and it's just a big mess. That's what I like.
Definitely.
And the other big mess that could happen, it's, you know, there's talk about Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. What do you think if, is this actually going to, are they going to happen? Is it going to be just a hype thing and never will happen?
I don't think it's going to happen, but if I was to pick a winner, I'm going Mark Zuckerberg. I feel like he's one of those guys that once he knows he's going to do something, he zeroes in and like obsesses about it. I feel like Elon Musk would be like, this will be fun. Let's try it out. But I think Zuckerberg will be like, this is how I win.
Yeah. Do you remember when Monica's Pete got his ass beat in Friends because he went into the octagon because he wanted to become the first ultimate fighter? Do you remember that in Friends? You need to watch that episode. He got his ass absolutely handed to him. I think Elon Musk would be kind of that kind of a way that he just went, this is going to be great, and he comes out dying.
Right. Yes, I think that's what would probably happen. But I don't know. I always thought Zuckerberg's a robot anyways, right? One of them's a robot, so I feel like
he was the person in the back of that plane with the woman.
Yes.
It's not real.
It's not real.
My God. What could make it happen? Do you know what I mean? So, you know, oh my God, that's brilliant.
Is it just me? If I was on that plane, sorry to cut you. If I was on that plane, is it just me, or would I'd also be like, maybe I should get off this plane? Like,
100%. Oh my God. I am going for the door and I'm using her as a weapon to open it. I don't care.
The person who was filming her, why didn't he point the camera back to see what she was pointing at? Because he stared at her the whole time. I was like, why aren't you finding out what's not real?
I'd be the biggest hypocrite of it though, because I'd be like, that lady's crazy as I'm packing up my stuff. She's totally nuts. Crazy. I'm packing up my stuff and getting up and walking off the plane.
There's no phalange. Before we move on any further, we're going to get you in to take part in the quiz with Liz.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's do it.
Excellent. So yeah, Jack, just for quiz with Liz, just a selection of either or questions and a couple of randoms thrown in there as well, just for the crack. So people get to know a little bit more about you outside of what you do on a day-to-day basis for a living. So are you ready?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Excellent. Fabulous. So here we go. Coffee or tea?
Coffee. Sunset
or sunrise?
Oh, good question. I'm going to go sunrise.
Cool. Flip-flops or sandals?
Neither.
Okay, fair.
No, I'll give you let's do flip-flops.
Cool, perfect. Cats or dogs?
Oh, I have one of each. I'm going to do a cat, but don't tell my dog.
Then what are we gonna do? Oh my God, fabulous. DIY, let's go, or dear God no?
For me actually building stuff, not the team DIY.
Oh no. DIY. No. You DIY.
Oh, no, you don't want me building anything. It's not good for anybody involved.
It doesn't might look like that. Announcing or commentating?
Oh, this is a question I ask myself all the time. I think commentating is where I would go, but with ring announcing, you get the roar of the crowd. No one cheers for you when you're doing commentary, but I think commentary is what I would do.
That's fair enough. Favorite WrestlingINC colleague?
Oh, that's tough. That's not fair. I'm gonna go with Raj.
Ooh, safe bet. Time. Give me all the weights, or no, I'd rather wait.
I love the phrasing of the question. I'll take all the weights.
Excellent. We love it. Why is AEW Collision so good?
You know, I think it's because it's consistent and they have an idea of what they're trying to do. You see the people who are stars and you see what they're trying to do. And I think that's what's making it work.
100%. Say something in Italian.
Venti.
Excellent. Nice call there, Ross. We should have really said maybe not what you order for your coffee, but say nothing.
That's all I got. I'm sorry.
It'll
Ferrari,
do.
I guess.
Absolutely, it'll do. LA Knights, yeah, or Cody Rhodes, wow.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm gonna go, yeah, because I can do it in conversation.
Totally.
You can't do whoa and look like
You can.
Someone cuts you off and you're like, whoa.
That's enough milk. I'm totally going to use that in the conversation. Toilet paper, over or under?
Over.
Excellent. Dream match to call.
So this is weird. My favorite wrestler of all time is Lance Storm. So if I could call a Lance Storm match against probably Jericho, because in fact, I think they said that they were going to be each other's final match one day. And so I would like to call the final match of Jericho versus Lance Storm.
That would be amazing, wouldn't it? My God. Have you ever announced the wrong name?
Not at a boxing or pro wrestling event. Actually, no, I did mess one up. There's a team called Raw Meat that I work with. They're a part of the Santino Bros, where I do ring announcing and commentary sometimes. One of them is Latino Meat, is what they call it, what he calls himself. And I introduced the team as Latino Meat instead of Raw Meat.
Oh God.
And they let me have it.
You just go with it. You're just like, yeah, look, we're cooking. Let's just keep going. We're fine. Let's roll with it. We're good. We're good. The hearing of a dog or the eyesight of an eagle?
I will take the eyesight of an eagle, because there's sometimes I wish I didn't hear certain things. That's
a great answer. I love that. That's brilliant. Now, here's one. Clothesline Jimmy or dropkick Justin?
I'm gonna clothesline Jimmy, because I don't think I'm gonna be able to leave my feet high enough to drop kick Justin.
Oh my God. Most requested song at a wedding that's not the first dance?
I would say Uptown Funk, Bruno Mars. I get all the time.
Yeah, cool. And complete this very, very well-known phrase. Taylor Swift is
an icon. I think she's huge. I feel like sometimes with people like this, it's hard to embrace who they are while they're still in the middle of what they're doing. But right. I mean, she's been like probably one of the biggest musical acts for 15 years straight. Like at some point, you just gotta give it to her.
Yeah. Definitely.
Plus, she makes good music. I like her music. I like Taylor Swift.
Oh, I love her. A Swiftie.
I'm not embarrassed to call myself a Swiftie.
Yeah. Well, Jack, that's what we're talking about. To be a Swiftie. We love her. She's the queen.
Yes.
Last question, probably the most important one, so think carefully. All of your achievements and awards, or appearing on Quiz with Liz?
Appearing on Quiz with Liz. Easy.
I thought it's a pretty straightforward question, right? The answer should have been straight there.
Easy.
Jack, that was your Quiz with Liz. Thank you so much for taking part.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. That was fun. I hope I passed. Did I pass?
No, that you mentioned you're a Swiftie. You definitely passed Liz's quiz.
Yeah, big Swiftie. The rest of the answers don't mean shit.
Yeah, the rest of you really just all the others are to bury that one in there and sneak it in there. That's what it's all about.
You know it. Look, come here. It's a real person to make sure you know that they're nice.
Was Justin a Swiftie?
Justin was a Swiftie.
Well, he actually had a story about Taylor Swift.
Had a Taylor Swift story. You'll have to tune in to hear it though.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, gotta definitely check that out. I guess hit the subscribe button to be notified when it is available.
100%. And like it nearly made me forget all the things he said about Jack. So, you know, just a little bit, Jack, I promise. Just for that split second.
Maybe I should have drop kicked Justin.
Definitely.
Jump off.
Right.
Shoulders and
what do they call poetry in motion? The Hardy Boy jump off.
Yeah. I'll have if Jimmy gets down and I can jump off of him, then I can hit Justin.
Wow.
But I'd immediately regret it, because what you don't think about is if you hit a drop kick, that means you've got to fall still. You're coming down too, and
yeah, you need to make sure you're the first up, and good luck out the door. And run like the wind. Run like you stole it. Gone.
I feel like I would land and just go, ow, ah.
And then realization would hit. And then Justin would hit.
Before we let you go, Jack, you mentioned the Santino bros there during the quiz. A colleague, I would say colleague, an Irish wrestler we spoke to a few weeks ago. He's over. He's actually living in Denver, but he trained in Santino bros.
Oh, really?
Jack Moody. I'm not sure if you came across him. I'm not sure if he's had any matches there. I know he's doing some training with them.
Jack Moody. I don't think I've met Jack Moody. Is he Jack Fancy? Does he? Do you know if he? There's a Jack Fancy I work with. I don't know what his real name is though.
I'm not sure.
Maybe that is his real name.
He wears the Irish flag around the shoulders when it comes to the ring, as far as I know, all his matches. I'm not sure.
Oh, I don't think I haven't met Jack Moody. No, he's in Denver now.
He trained in wrestling for 9 months in Ireland, and he did a J1 in Denver years ago, and he went back to meet friends, and he ended up staying and started wrestling in Denver, and went around parts of America, and went down to Tyler Breeze's place in Florida.
Yeah,
and he ended up.
It's flatbacks, I think.
Flatback. Yeah. But he's been doing that, and I think he was trying to get into. You're part of the United Wrestling network as well.
Oh yeah. Championship Wrestling, United Wrestling Network. Yeah, I mean, lots of opportunities there because there's multiple brands. We have obviously Championship Wrestling here in Los Angeles, but Derby City in Kentucky. We've got Memphis Wrestling. So what's nice about United Wrestling Network is there's multiple opportunities. But yeah, I'd love to meet him. Yeah,
I put you in touch. I think I'm not sure if he's still training there, but he's definitely gone back. He just went back over, so I'm not sure if he's still going there. But have you anything coming up show wise, Santino Bros, or under the United Network? Yeah,
actually, on July 29th, we're doing the LA Rumble, which is it's a 30. I mean, it's the Royal Rumble, basically. 30 people, winner gets a shot at the title. I was going to go through the whole explanation, but anyone who's watched pro wrestling knows where I'm going with this. So it's the Royal Rumble, but we call it the LA Rumble. Super fun, 30 people. It's always a good time. So people can check that. It'll be, if you're in LA, I would love to see you, but if not, it's going to be on Fight TV. Also, Championship Wrestling, we air every single week, but we do recordings once a month at the Irvine Improv. So check that out. But also, I just got a text from Prestige Wrestling that I'm going to be doing commentary for them on September 24th at the Globe Theater. So that'll be really fun as well.
Amazing.
Trying to stay busy.
For the Rumble, are you going into that prepared? How do you prepare for a Rumble match? Or...
just hope and a prayer. That's all you go with.
Do you have any surprises that you're not allowed to spill? That there's going to be people in the Rumble that you're not allowed to give away?
They keep me in the dark. I have no idea. They've released 27 names. There's 3 names that we don't know yet. Is the math right there? I know there's 3 names that we don't know yet. That's 27? I'm in wrestling. I don't know math. But it's 3 names are still a mystery. I don't know who they are. They keep me in the dark. I try to find out and they never tell me. But I don't know who those 3 are. There's a lot of people who have been in Santino Bros who have gone on to do big things. Brody King, for one of them, is a Santino Bro. I don't know if he's going to be there. He hasn't been listed. I'm just saying. I don't know.
You never know. Anything can happen at a Rumble.
This is absolutely me not saying he's going to be there. He might not be. I literally don't know. I'm just trying to throw it out there. I'm putting it into the universe, okay?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's that and lots of stuff. But I always say follow me at Real Jack Farmer across all social media, and I try to keep people up to date there.
Excellent. Jack, been an absolute pleasure having you on. As we said, we're big fans of the wrestling podcast. You are, probably the most positive person in the industry. That anybody who listens to the wrestling podcast will say the exact same thing. It's, in a world where there's so much negativity around Twitter and wrestling, and IWC, whatever they call themselves. Yeah. It's great to have positive influence who's always spreading good vibes around the industry. So. It's been a pleasure speaking to you, and hopefully we'll be able to speak to you again pretty soon.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'd love to. Let me know. We should do this again sometime. Maybe we'll have you guys on WrestlingINC one of these days.
I'm prepared for that. My God, check out the That one, dear God. Yeah, I can't wait to see you clothesline Jimmy. And then yeah, so we'll definitely be on for that episode anyway. Definitely.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. You guys will have to be there for that one. So well, if you guys are there, we'll have a tag team. We could doomsday device them. You could hold them up and I could jump off the top and close
totally
on that.
like, come on, Jack, one good swing. Come on.
We mentioned Justin earlier will be at WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia, so you never know.
Oh, very cool.
He's got a chance. Yeah. Planning on going do a live show there or something.
I'm hoping to be there. So yeah, we should run into each other. We should say hello in person. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Essential. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, so massive thanks, Jack. It's been lovely speaking with you. And of course, as Jack mentioned, you can follow him on all social media at Jack Farmer, because he's a busy man. So if you want to keep in contact and see what's going on in his life, make sure you drop him a follow and a like, and of course, reach out. If you are not following us or you have not subscribed on YouTube, what are you doing? Get on it. We're at Irish Wrestling 8 on Twitter and Instagram as well. We're also on Facebook. YouTube, drop us a comment down below. Do you agree with some of Jack's answers to some of his questions? What do you think of it, all of the situation here that's unfolding with himself and Justin? You can also find us on TikTok with the millions and millions of views that we have going on over there. For myself, being Sensational Queen Lizzie, from himself being Booker G 5 times, and of course the one and only Jack Farmer, it is bye for now and see you next time. Bye.
Bye guys.